everyone, welcome to Shell Crochet. This is my April update. Let's talk finished objects. Hi everyone, it's Shell. How are you today? First, I'd like to welcome anybody who's new, and of course all of my returning friends here at Shell Crochet. I have actually done 3 videos prior to this one in the month of April, which is not normal for me. Usually I just do 2 a month, but there was a few tags that went around and I participated in both the 10 yarn questions tag and the tag about 10 questions about crochet hooks. And I will have those linked in the description box below, along with my mid-month update, which this time was about a check-in on my goals for 2021. So in case with all of the wonderful tags and with April's Vita going on, you missed any of those videos, they will be linked below for you. And I'd once again like to thank the people who tagged me. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. There was one big thing I forgot though. In the yarn questions tag, somehow I skipped over the one about scraps. And I'm such a scrap person. I love my scraps, and yes, I keep all my scraps. So I thought I'd pull out one of my scrap baskets. Here it is. This is a pattern by Jada and Stitches, which will be linked in the description box below. And my scraps this year for the first time actually include a couple of magic balls. So this is my super bulky magic ball, and this is my, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can pick it up. This is my worsted weight magic ball, and there's a ton of other yarns in here. So I will go to this basket first if I need something in a particular color, and I think I might have some left. Like, there's nothing wrong with using this teal in a project. But once they get awfully small, they go in here. And this one is going to be so much fun to work with. I know the bulky one won't go as far, but I'm looking forward to making a project with both of those maybe in the month of December. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I love my scraps, and the tinier scraps get used for scrunchies or worked into those magic balls. I will have a whole bunch of scraps for my Diamond Granny once I'm completed with that. So that's going to be fun to add in there. And of course, because of getting all that tangled yarn, I do have other balls that I consider more on the scrap level that I collected for that. So yeah, huge fan of scraps. There's nothing wrong with it. Great for charity projects. Great for just about anything. You know, like I'd be more than happy to use it myself for a scrap yarn or whatever. Anyway, I can't believe I forgot that question, so I just thought I'd fill you in now. And speaking of my Diamond Granny, I promised you an update. So it's living in this huge bag here. And I'm going to list in the description box below sort of the color sets, but all my squares are done. So all my squares are done. This is my little inside the project bag of all the scraps plus the charcoal yarn that's being used to do the outside. And that's sort of my next step. So I do have a bunch of them that I've gotten as far as putting the charcoal on, not a lot, but some. And this had to go on hold because of another blanket. So we'll see when that comes back. But like I said at the beginning of the year, this is just a for me project to fit in whenever I want something mindless to work on. And I'm not quite at the assembly required stage yet. So until I get them all, it's 3 rows each for them of the charcoal. So that will take a while because those are the biggest rows. And then we'll see. So more to come, probably a couple months from now on this. And seeing as I sort of accidentally started talking about whips first, why not continue? The reason that I ended up needing to put that on hold is because someone has asked me for a cake pop blanket, popping up the picture here of the one I did last year, for June, for the beginning of June. So I am doing another one, and it is going to be slightly different. The original blanket was made up of 12 full cakes of Bernat pop. Some of them were in there twice, but they were full cakes, and there was absolutely no color control. They just came out of the cake as they came out of the cake. And I decided with that blanket that I wasn't going to color control, and I also wasn't going to continue in the round, so to speak. I switched directions every single row. So because of that, the color kind of gets thicker because you end up going back over the color sometime, especially on the larger rounds. So I wasn't a huge fan of that either. But again, you got to sort of plan these things out in the beginning and then stick to it. So because of those learning lessons and because of how I prefer things to look, these ones are going to be different. So first of all, they're half the size. They are 12 row rounds. So I'm getting two, at least two, because there's some left over and I'll have to see at the end if I can make use of it or not. At least 2 squares from each cake. So that's 1 square from that cake and this is the other. So it's neat. And it'll be like, most of them will be 3 colors. So far I haven't run into, there might be some that are 4 colors, but so far I haven't really run into that. And I also am giving myself a little leeway with scraps, but only if the yarn really goes with Bernat Pop. So there's not a lot that does. Bernat Pop's just a little thicker. It's very fluffy and it's not dense. It's not tightly spun either. So like I tried using Caron, what's that called? Caron 1 pounder. It won't work, even though that's a very thick 4-weight. But this one is with some Mary Maxim yellow in the middle, just to pull out the yellow because this square has a more of a neon yellow in it as its other partner. And so that's the second one from that cake. And then this cake is these two. And there we go. So I will list the colorways of the Bernat Pops I'm using in the description box below. And then finally, this one I remember, this one is Foggy Notion, but the pink I added, and that is Red Heart Comfort. And Red Heart Comfort is a really good acrylic to go with Bernat Pop. They're very similar. And then this one is also Foggy Notion with that turquoise that I added, which was also Red Heart Comfort. So I don't really buy those too much. Those are the really big skeins. But if I had more comfort, I could have a few more colors in there. But I think it's going to be great. She wanted a really colorful blanket. She requested the Aran going around the edges. And I specifically have taken out the extra stitch in between. So where there's a chain in between, I'm just not using that stitch when I go around it to tighten those into nice squares. And then, yeah, the assembly and all of that. So it will be a minimum of 24, but it may be 30. I'll have to see how it looks when it's at 24. But this is what's been taking some of my time lately and why I had to put the other one on pause. But it's fun because this is so much color that it's good for your brain, right? And I have 2 more things that I'll categorize under works in progress. I am extending my poncho capelet that I made last year, and I have one side done, so I just have to work on the other side. So should be able to show you that mid-month in May. Hopefully we'll be able to start wearing it by then. And the last thing would be my Mighty Mile a Minute blanket, the Jada and Stitches year-long crochet along, where I'm using the colors from Seta's year-long calendar cal. And this month, popping up a picture here of the calendar pick. I wasn't thrilled with the options. I made a choice that I was going to do this with stash yarn regardless. I wasn't going to be purchasing any yarn for this project this year. But I wasn't thrilled based on the picture with what options I had on hand. So I decided to use this one skein that had come in my Mary Maxim surprise kit or mystery box. It's called Sunset and it's Red Heart Dreamy. So it's this last one here. So let's let this kind of unfold and you can see how it's coming along. And yeah, that is the Sunset one. The last one there. It is a little bit wider, I think, because it's considered a 5 bulky. It doesn't look like a 5 bulky to me, but I wish it had had purple in it. If it had purple in it, it would have made me so happy for the picture. But yeah, it's neat because now finally I have kind of a variegated that's done a chunkier thing rather than just sort of being present wherever. So we'll see what, I haven't actually even looked what May is, and even though I have all those pictures thanks to Tris, I forgot to even check what May's looks like. But these ones I end up doing right at the beginning of the month and then I kind of forget about it. I almost forgot to talk about it, but yeah, it's fun. And it's forcing me to do join as you go, which is good because I've never done that before. So this will be pretty when it's all said and done. All right, just before we get into finished objects, there's a couple of shout outs I'd like to do. The first one is for my friend Crystal at Ricola's Crochet Corner. And she is doing a 2K giveaway. She has reached 2,000 plus subscribers here on YouTube. So she is doing a 2K giveaway, and you will find the link to that video in the description box below. And I just wanted to say congratulations, Crystal. So her big 2K celebration will be on Saturday, May the 8th, and check out the video for more details on that. It's in the description box below. And the other one I want to do a shout out for is my friend Carrie Penny at the Happy Crafty Homemaker, who is hosting a MAL. The MAL starts on May the 1st, and it is a spooky themed MAL. I will pop up the name of the MAL in the video right here and also in the description box below. And yeah, if you want to get your spook on in spring instead of just waiting for October, then it sounds like a lot of fun, and I am totally into it. So we'll see how that all goes. Okay, let's move on to finished objects. And the first thing I'm going to show you is actually a Mother's Day gift for my mom. I am going to bank on the fact that she won't see this because usually I send her the videos to watch. She doesn't just watch on her own. So we'll see how that works out. But it is made with Caron latte cakes in the colorway Pepper Ash. And it's from the Lovely Layers category of the latte cakes, along with a skinny cake, which is called Baked Alaska. And I used all of this, and that's kind of how I decided this from the beginning. It's just supposed to be a lapgan. It's a little bit bigger than a lapgan. It's super warm, having held the two yarns together. So super warm and cozy. And yeah, so here she is. And I will take a picture and pop one up at the end of the video as well, so you can see it all laid out. But yeah, that turned out really well. So this is the Sober Granny or the block stitch. There's several versions of this stitch out there, but I did watch Krista from the Secret Yarneries tutorial, and I have watched Jaden Stitches tutorial as well. And yeah, you get that same texture as corner to corner, but it's in a straight pattern back and forth. And then the yarn just did what the yarn did. So they're both variegated sort of self-striping yarns with these vanilla to light gray and silver to dark gray tones in them. So yeah, very, very nice and super cozy. I couldn't actually believe how warm it was compared to just regular yarn on my lap. So that's for Mom. And then the other blanket that was already on the go last time was my Modern Granny. And this one's going to be way harder to show you, but this one is actually, I think you can see the yarn here. It's this skinny cake here. I know it's got the word mint in it, but I'll pop up the name I'll put the name in the description box below. It's held double with the Loops and Threads Impeccable, Endless Impeccable, the really hugest ones in that soft taupe color. And so this was 2 full skinny cakes, and I did have a little bit of the soft taupe left, and the soft taupe is doubled for the borders. So the border is the only thing that doesn't have the skinny cake in it, and it's the Modern Rectangle Granny. So here we go. It's big. This one's more Afghan style, or size. That's what I'm calling this one, Afghan. So again, I'll have a picture in the end of the video of this laid out, but this just they complement each other so well. It actually blows out a little bit in the color, but it just looks so I don't know, it's just pretty. I don't even know what to call it. It's just a really pretty blanket. I didn't love this pattern. I mean, it's good. It's a nice pattern, but I think for my own motivation, I never felt like I was getting progress, because as the rows got bigger, you actually do like almost 4 rows. 2 sides are shorter than the other 2 sides, but every time you go around, so one row is super quick, the other row takes forever, and I don't know, it felt like it was taking time to grow. I didn't feel that way when I was making that block stitch one. We're back and forth, back and forth. Sure, the beginning's a bit like, I need to make progress, but once you get going and you're kind of halfway there, every couple of rows you feel like you've gained a few inches, right? Well, I didn't get that feeling out of the Modern Granny as much, but that's just personal. The pattern itself is gorgeous, and it does such a great job displaying yarn, and it does a really great job displaying self-striping yarn, because if you hold 2 together, you can eliminate that whole like harsh color change by hiding it in the marling of the two yarns. So that part I loved, and I would definitely do that again. So very interesting learning about how those yarns worked out together for those different patterns. So I was wearing my sweater one day when we went out. I'll pop up a picture here. My sweater is made in comfy cotton in the driftwood colorway, and I just felt like I wanted a little something around my neck. I haven't committed to buttons on that sweater yet, and I don't know if I want them on there, so I made this instead. So I had a little bit left, probably 3/4 of a cake left, and so I made a super loose drapey scarf using just double crochets and some lace work with a really big hook. I probably used a 10mm hook with comfy cotton there. It could have been a 9 or a 10, I don't remember. It probably is written down though. And yeah, so it's big enough that it can loop around my neck and still come down. And yeah, and then I had a tiny bit left. So I made one more of my little hair bandanas. Let's see if I can put this on quickly. Yeah, so the idea wasn't necessarily that I'd wear them together. But this is super lightweight too, because I continued with the big hook, and I thought the colorway and the fact that there's a lot of cotton in it might be nice for summer, because I'm not big on hats all the time in the summertime, so that might be good. So just using up my scraps. So literally nothing left of this after I was done. I actually used a different little bit of some scrap cotton I had. I think it's a softy something, Bernat softy something cotton, baby cotton. I had a little bit left from when I made my ponchos. So yeah, so those were done earlier on in April. So last time I mentioned Crystal had been so generous to gift me some yarn, and part of it was this Yarn Bee, Hobby Lobby Yarn Bee pigments that I had never ever seen before. So I ended up holding it double because it's a fingering weight yarn, and I was hoping that this would be big enough for a wrap, but it didn't turn out to be big enough for a wrap, but it turned out to be awesome for a scarf. So let me first just show you the scarf. So we'll see if I can kind of do what I do with the blanket normally. And we go all the way down, and I made fringe. I almost never make fringe, but I did this time because I thought I just went with the scarf. So one in one direction and one in the other direction. And there's tons and tons there for coziness. Now this has got a little wool in it, but it doesn't bother me. It's also got nylon in it, so it's super stretchy. And that's kind of why I had hoped I could have it wide enough as a wrap. I mean, it would still do in a pinch if you're out and you wore this as a scarf. But basically, I listed out all the colorways that this came in. And they're those tiny little balls, which are a bit of a pain unless you get the center pull just right. But it's all marled, so it's harder to see in some of the colors because of the lightness. But you can tell with some, actually both the light and the dark kind of disappear into each other. But you can tell for sure. And yeah, at another point, maybe I'll pop in a little bit of a video of me wearing it, maybe next winter or something, next fall, when it's on me long ways. But yeah, I love this so much. It's awesome. So thanks for that yarn, Crystal. So there were tiny little scraps left, and in the spirit of using up all the yarn, I put this little just headband together, and it's just got a button at the back. So that is the rest of that yarn, and I don't even think I made any scrunchies out of it after, so used all of that up, so yay. I've been making an effort to go grab some of my single skeins and just do a single skein something. So this time it was with Red Heart Unforgettable, and it is called Meadow. So size 4 acrylic, everybody knows. Red Heart Unforgettable. It is a roving yarn, which we also know Shell doesn't like, but this worked out well. So you can tell me as I go around, maybe I'll go this way so it's easier. If you can find the seam, I'll try to go nice and slow, because I would sit here for quite a while to find the seam in order to show it to you. So all it is, it's sort of made this way and then seamed, right? So it's 2 rows of double crochet and 2 rows of double crochet cross stitch. And yeah, little cowl, neck warmer. And it gave great texture and a perfect size. Nice drape. This was made, what hook size did I use? I'm gonna say I used 6.5 for this. I don't think I used 7. So yeah, just something for the make ahead stash. I'm sure someone would love to have that as a gift. It's very neutral, but yeah, some nice lighter neutrals. So this next item I thought was going to be a whip still, but I just tried it and it's big enough. So it's a freehand mandala for my Lazy Susan. It's not blocked yet, so I will give it a little bit of a light blocking just because it's perfectly round, no issues there. I just played around with the stitches how I felt that they would go the best. Technically it should have been a 16 stitch increase every round, but as long as they lay flat, right? Do what you want. So there's a bunch of V stitches. It's all double crochet. I think there's only one round in here that was half double just to even some out when I was making some of the shells, but very happy with this. And I'll pop in a little video at the end here that will show you where it goes in our living room. And this is made with some what I'm calling mill-ends cotton that I got from Cambridge Fibers. And the most interesting thing about this, it's just a regular worsted cotton and it's nice, Aran, whatever. But you know, it's chain spun. So I've never had cotton that's chain spun before. So that's cool. Worked up great, nice and soft, and will serve our Lazy Susan quite well. The other little DIY thing I did, we have these lanterns that originally came with like LED candles in it. Oh, my bunnies here. We have some bunnies this year. We have about 4 of them, and I can see one of them outside right now. They're so fun. Anyway, yeah, the lanterns. So the candles are long gone. The candles never really did much because you know, they're just battery operated LED candles. I don't even know what happened to the candles, honestly. We've had the lanterns for like 5 or 6 years. But we put solar lights in them now, and it was time to sort of refurbish that. And so they got like a little spritz of spray paint from my hubby. And then I have crocheted sort of the inset so that keeps the solar light from falling through, and then just attach it to the outside with black cotton. So I'll pop that in at the end of the video as well. Super easy, super quick. I mean, you have to figure out a little bit how you're going to do it, but it's just one of those things you can just wing it and do, and then you have a DIY of a different kind using crochet still. So this was my only have to, well, actually the Mother's Day was too, I suppose, because I wouldn't have wanted to wait till May to do it, but this is my only real have to project for April. I made another bath mat. This one is just using Bernat blanket yarn held with some mill-ends cotton in a very similar colorway, so got super lucky with that. And it's kind of this aqua colorway. Yeah, it turned out really well. I actually used a bigger hook than I have before, and I think it actually made a difference, and I'm happier. I think this is my favorite bath mat I've made, including the ones I've made for myself, but that will be going to my bestie. And last but not least, I made another market bag. This one is just simple double crochet in between the stitches. So you just do your bottom until it's the size you want. I didn't go super wide at the bottom of this one, just enough to give it a nice little base, maybe 2 inches, an inch on either side of the chain. And down at the bottom, I just used single crochet. And then I did 1 round of half double and then into the doubles. And I just made sure that my seam stayed on the side so it would be less noticeable. And so I could also do my double crochets in between the stitches just to give it that nice texture. And so this is how it looks. This is 1 Caron ripple cake held double. So it's giving that marl look. And then what I did was I just stole a little bit of that aqua Bernat Handicrafter aqua. That's a mill end. It's a cone, actually. It's probably officially sugar and cream, but I got it from Spin Right. And I held it with some really thin ice yarn I have that also has that marl look to it, so that the strap kind of goes with the rest of the bag. And yeah, that turned out really awesome. Thanks again, Crystal, for that cake. But man, that was fun because of all those color changes, and just, yeah, awesome for spring, right? Oh, and I want to talk about the handles. So how I like to do my handles for these crossbody type market bags is I get my seam where I want it to be, or where it should be, and I just pull, so that's like halfway where there's no stitch on either side, and then the next sort of 4 stitches across, that's where I make my, or I attach my handles, and that way it will be a nice even crossbody for you. And I like to do the straps long ways so that when I go back across them with the color that I'm joining with, they that's not the raw edge, it's the good edge. So, and that way my raw edge is really tiny. It's only down there, right? So yeah, that's how I like to do my straps. Fun. And that basically wraps up April. Pretty good month. Got a lot done, and I don't have a lot of whips. I have some longer term whips, which I'm fine with. I wouldn't be jumping to create more longer term whips, but I don't have anything that's pressing other than the one blanket, and I'm on a good schedule for that. What I'm doing for that schedule wise is I'm making sure that I get 2 squares done a day for 12 days, but then added in another 6 days. So really for 18 days, right? To give myself some days where I don't necessarily work on it. And that will give me plenty of time to be able to put the blanket together and get it to its new owner slash gift giver by the time it's due. And yeah, so I will have to take a look at what I want to be making for Carrie Penny's make along. And I'm also itching to get a couple of things made for me for spring summer. I'm eyeballing some of this cotton wool yarn that Debbie had given me. I'll pop up a picture here because I'm really interested in making like a short sleeve cardi with that. And I have to pick out a different yarn because I want to try to make a tank top every year in the granny tank top pattern that I sort of invented for myself 2 years ago. But I'll pop up, I'll put in the description box below a video link to when I talked about those tank tops, because I've made it twice now, and you just used your hook size to change your sizing. So anyway, that's in my mind for May, and looking forward to continuing with the Mighty Mile a Minute, and yeah, just going on from there. So as I said, there'll be some pictures at the end along with a couple of clips, and thanks everybody for being here and spending this time with me. I hope you are all doing well. I know it's really challenging times still for a lot of people, especially here in Ontario. It's not been great, but we'll get through it. We will get through it. Have a great day, everybody, and happy crochet. Bye for now. Hi guys. Just a little quick video clip here of a little DIY I did, actually redid, to these lanterns. So I bought these lanterns maybe, I don't know, 6-7 years ago at Winners, and they came with LED candles in them that were never very bright. So a few years ago I took them out and started to try to use the outdoor solar lights in them. And I had previously done it with twine, but this time I did it with a little bit of crochet. Let me just show you what I did. So there's my ball of black cotton yarn and my hook. And here's the light. So I just took it out so I could show you. And I just made a chain of a chain and a circle. And then I did some post stitches around that to give it a little bit more of a lip. And then some chains to attach. And it's all fixated in there like that. And let me see if I can show you putting it back inside. There. So we got the 2 of them, and now they're ready to go back outside. Quick and easy, and the black yarn makes it not show. Okay, take it easy. Have a great day. Happy crochet. Hey everyone. Just another little clip for you. We have this Lazy Susan that we keep in the middle of our table. I moved it to show you. I've made a freehand mandala cotton out of all cotton to go over it. So here she is. And I actually just finished it a couple of seconds ago, and I was just putting it down to see if she fits proper. And I'd say she fits pretty proper. So yeah, that is some of the 100% cotton, Worsely cotton I got from Cambridge Fibers. Pretty happy. Okay, back to the regularly scheduled programming.